Hello, future professionals. Welcome to day 3 of Top 100 Coding Question Analysis. Today, we have been challenged with the question to find whether a year is a leap year or not. To solve this question, we must know what is a leap year. A leap year occurs once in 4 years, which has 366 days. It has one day more than a normal year. That extra day is nothing but accumulation of 6 hours. Not able to understand? Actually, a year is 365.25 days. That is 365 days and 6 hours extra. But for convenience, we only consider 365 days in a year. The rest 6 hours or 0.25 days is compensated once in 4 years as one day. Now, how do we find whether a year is a leap year or not? So, let's now see the logic behind how to find whether a year is a leap year or not. The logic is that whether year when divided by 4 leaves a remainder 0 and year divisible when divided by 100 does not leave the remainder as 0, or the second condition is that the year when divided by 400 must leave a remainder as 0. We all know that the first condition is understandable because the leap year occurs every once in 4 years. But why should the leap year not be divisible by 100? It is because when the Georgian calendar was created, it was decided to have number of days in the year close to 365 days. But in every 100 years, we get 25 extra days. Which when we take an average becomes 365.25 days in a year, which is 0.25 days longer or extra than 365 days. So, in order to keep average number of days per year close to 365, we do not consider 25th day that occurs every once in 100 years. Rather, we compensate that leftover one day every 4 centuries once, wherein we not only compensate leftover leap days, but we also keep the average close to 365 days per year. Now that we have understood the logic, let's now move on to understanding the flowchart. Here, we start the program and get the input from the user, that is, the year from the user. Now, we validate whether the input given by the user is a valid year, right? And then if it is a valid year, then we go on for type conversion, that is from string to int. Here, we check the year with the logic that we have learned previously, that is whether the year is divisible by 4 and not divisible by 100, or the year is divisible by 400. If either one of the condition is satisfied, then we print the year as leap year. If none of the condition is satisfying, then we print it as a non-leap year. After printing either leap year or non-leap year, we end the program. Now that we have understood both the logic as well as the flowchart, let's now start coding. First, let's define a function to get the user's input. I name the function as getUserInput, where I initialize the variable year to the input that the user gives. And now I return the year value. Next, we'll define a function to validate the year. It gets the parameter as the year with which we validate the year. That is, we use if condition and is numeric string method to verify whether the year is a number or not. If the condition satisfies, we return true. Else, we return false. Next, we shall define a function to convert the string data type into an integer data type. We must follow the camel casing convention for best practices. Here, we use the int method to convert the string data type into an integer data type and now return the value of the year. Next, we shall define a function to check whether the year is a leap year or not. I name the function check leap year and give the parameter as year. Here, we use the if condition, and when we divide the year by 4, it must give the remainder 0, and when the year is divided by 100, it must not give the remainder as 0. Or, when the year is divided by 400, it must give the remainder as 0. If any one of these conditions is satisfied, we return true. Else, we return false. Now that we have completed all our functions, it's time to call them. Let's call the function getUsersInput and store the return value in the year variable. Next, we shall validate the year by calling the validateYear function and store the return value in isValidYear variable. If the condition satisfies, we shall call the convertToInt function to convert the string data type into an integer data type. Else, if the condition fails, we warn the user to enter a valid year. Now that we have converted string data type into an integer data type, it's time to check whether the year is a leap year or not. We use the check leap year method or function to find whether the year is leap year or not. When the condition is satisfied, we print that the year is a leap year. Else, the year is not a leap year. Now that we have completed our program, let's check it once for any warning signals. There is no warning signals. Let's try to execute our program. Let's now enter the value as 2000. It says 2000 is a leap year. Let's now try it for a non-leap year. Let's enter 1999. It says 1999 is not a leap year. Let's now try it for an invalid input. Let's enter ASD. It says enter a valid number. Let's now predict the future. Let's give the year as 2400 and it says 2400 is a leap year. Now that we have completed our program in an advanced way which involves best practices of coding. I hope you have got the best out of this video. I recommend you subscribing this channel to get more such interesting videos.